Hello, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Inspo Depot podcast brought to you by Insporeum Network. I'm Rizq, I'll be your host, and please enjoy this episode. Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, wherever you are. Welcome back to another episode of the Inspo Depot podcast. And for this episode, we have a special guest, Mr. Ryan Matjeraie.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
It's been a while since we last met.
It has.
And today, out of all the occasions that we can meet, we met for a podcast.
Let me just quickly say that Hazarizq has been working very hard today. You might think this is a brand new, fresh podcast. This is like the last podcast of the day. He's been here all day recording podcasts. I'm going to do my best to try and keep you awake this entire how long we're going to be recording for.
Yeah, but I'm just afraid that he'll take over the hosting. And I'll be the guest. Yeah, for those of them who don't know you, which is probably a small amount of people that don't, would you care to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Ryan Matjeraie, as Hazarizq just mentioned. I am your average, stereotypical Eurasian radio announcer, TV host, all that jazz. I also do a bit of content online. And me and Hazarizq met a couple of years ago. I've always seen him online as a creative person. In fact, we're in a room right now of a lot of creative people in a very hub where creativity brews every single day. I can't say too much, but what I will say is if you're watching this and you're wanting to be inspired, then you're at a great platform with Hazarizq.
Yeah, like as what Ryan's it feels like a sport commentary.
I feel like I'm the host right now.
It's not Super Sport. Okay. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, this space is provided by our friends over at All Is Amazing. It's amazing, of course. It's very beautiful for those of you who are in need of any creative solutions, photography, videography, or a space to record a podcast like this. You can reach out to our friends over at All Is Amazing, and they'll be more than happy to provide help for you.
Yeah, shout out to All Is Amazing. Shout out to Paulis.
Thank you, Paulius.
Or Paul is Amazing is what he actually meant to name the company, but it was a typo, and all it came out for some reason. But yeah,
so it's Paul is Amazing.
Yes. That's how the company was named.
Oh, is that the secret you didn't tell us? Okay, so you're a content creator. You're under Rocket Fuel.
Yes.
So before this, you were a radio announcer. Mm-hmm. You were also a TV host.
Yes.
Are you still? You're still a TV host today?
I'm not a TV host today because I'm not currently on TV. I'm not currently on radio either. So I'm guessing I'm ex both of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So to bring you to where you were today, like what was the journey like? How did you get here?
That's a very broad question. Yeah. I don't know where to start with that. I've always liked creativity. I think that's probably the main theme we're going to be looking at with most of these podcasts. So I'll try to hone in on that. I've always liked creating stuff as a kid, whether it be, making comedy or making people laugh or entertain them. I've always enjoyed that aspect of it. The idea of working on radio gave me that platform, but it also forced me to make content every single day. Because the thing about radio is you're not just creating content, you're also curating content. Correct. Which means you're taking content from somewhere else and then making your own and delivering it to your audiences in a very relatable way. So when you do that enough, you do that every single day, you get so much practice. You know what I mean? You hone your craft, and very soon you'll find your own voice in doing so. So I had the privilege of doing that every single day, which meant I grew this this more creative idea aspect in my brain that allowed me to pursue that outside of radio and outside of TV, which is what I do today.
You started off as a radio announcer, right? But like the journey to being a creative, was that like, I wanted to be a radio announcer, or was that just by luck? No.
I think you'll speak to most radio announcers today. They all say it happened by accident. It was kind of like that for me, but at the same time, I was looking for a job. I moved to Malaysia in 2010. I didn't have a job at the time. I was looking to do something within the entertainment field. And I had so many rejections. I went to NTV7. I went to Astro Awani was an audition I went to. Can't
you imagine you being on Astro Awani though?
There was a tech show that I was auditioning for. That Adam Carruthers, who now was for Astro Supersport, got that, and I auditioned for that. I auditioned for stuff on Disney, and I no after no after no. And I think that the main reason why people were rejecting me was because I wasn't Malaysian enough, which is fair enough. I mean, there's an inside joke there which you know about. Not Malaysian enough. The only two people or two companies that said yes to me in 2011, the beginning was Hits, the radio station, and Media Prima, ATV Quickie. And those were the two jobs I had for the next 3, 4, 5 years, now 10 years. Yeah. And that's what got me started in the industry. But I didn't pursue it. It was the only two jobs that said yes to me. And that's why I went for it. Yeah.
And now, being who you are, you create content for both brands and yourself at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And how's the process like when you write content for your own fun? Because I know for sure that when you create content for brands, right, there's a certain things that this is the KPIs that they need.
Yeah.
These are the messages that they need. But like when it's all for your own fun, like the Bata shoe, the one that you went to LA for, right? Like, how did it came about? I mean, that Bata shoe is like a long time ago. But it's still fresh in my mind.
Well, that's it. When you get started in this industry, man, you need to make content for yourself. I mean, you're always making content for yourself, primarily what entertains you. But at the same time, when a client comes on board, they have their own mission / objective, right? But the story with the Bata shoe is, I always want to make content that I think people would want to see. And that's what I did. A lot of people would probably take the Bata shoe and, go to Bata and say, hey, I'm about to do this idea, pay me money and I'll do it. I went the other way just because I didn't think Bata would invest money into it. I mean, the idea was kind of ludicrous in a way. Like, hey, I'm going to go to LA and talk to hypebeasts about your shoe. How about you pay for my flight over there? Which, in fairness, you can do as well. But I was going there anyway. I had
holiday.
Holiday, but also with some friends and stuff like that. And I thought, whilst I'm there, I'm going to make content anyway. So I took these Bata shoes. I took Bata slippers. I took power shoes. I took fake Gucci from Petaling Street. Gucci slippers. And then I went to some of the most famous places in LA for hypebeasts. Fairfax Avenue, where they shoot some of the complex episodes for what's that show called? The complex shoe one. Damn it, what's it called? Sneaker shopping.
Okay.
So I went outside their store and just talked to like hypebeasts about these Bata slipper, you know what I mean? And then got some incredible reactions. And I knew that would be something that I think me as a Malaysian, and by the way, I am Malaysian, would want to see, you know what I mean?
Let's clarify that he's Malaysian.
I am.
Okay.
I am 50% lah. Jampo sama dengan rojak. So yeah, that's something I just thought Malaysians would love to see, and then I did it, and got a good reaction from it. And about a couple of days after it got released, Bata emailed me and said, hey, we love the video. We want to give you some Bata slippers, which they did. And in the end now, they wanted to pursue content with me after that. So it opened doors, you know what I mean, to get clients, to network more with people. So that's if that's a case in point right there, to be able to get your own clients, you just have to do the work first. And then hopefully the clients will come to you.
And that content actually went viral, would you say?
I mean, I hate to use the V word, bro.
Correct. So this is where I knew that you were going to say that. So, but like, okay, what actually makes content go viral? Is it time? Is it the person who's doing it? Is it like...
What makes it go viral? I mean, if I had a viral video, I could tell you. I can tell you what a viral video is. I mean, Oppa Gangnam style.
Yeah, what do you think that makes it go? Like, okay, let's say if it's the Gangnam style, right? Yeah. Is it the dance? Is it the music? Is it the visuals? Is it the Korean influence?
It's a mixture of both. I think it's the ridiculousness of it. Do you know what I mean? Something that's relatable, something that's really ridiculous, something that's out there, something that's unique, and something that's never been done before. And that's so hard to do. You know what I mean? Like, you think about content out there, you just think, wow, there's nothing else I can do. Everything's been done.
Correct.
But there's always these little niches. There's always these little loopholes that you can just dip your feet into and then try. And eventually you're going to do something that hopefully no one else can do. And then people will resonate with that. Okay. But I don't know if that's what makes a viral video. That's just that's what
you think. Yeah. Okay. So for example, right, like we were talking about Gangnam Style earlier, viral content, whatever. And then now you also have brands and agencies. Like in Japan, there's this one agency that they actually create fake like 3D models that they just put these characters in front of brands and to integrate the brands together, and they have like 6 personalities, which are all fake. They don't exist in the real world, but they become an actual influencer, right? And in Malaysia, we have this fucking puppet called Hazarizq, which is, if I'm not wrong, you're one of the writers.
Yeah, yes? I've heard of Hazarizq.
And like, it's fucking weird for me to talk about him, but like, he's also that one example that anything can be a personality or be an influencer to help push brands forward.
Yeah.
And how was it like, the experience of you writing for this thing that doesn't even exist or even have he has a voice, but yeah. How was that experience like?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, that's a great case in point. Hazarizq Suyok, which hopefully some people would have heard of, is this puppet, this idea that, and I think he has, in a way, he's got more personality than some other influencers out there. You know what I mean? He's
painful.
He is so himself. That's the best way to describe it.
Maybe because he's a puppet.
He is so unapologetically himself.
Yeah.
He knows he's got flaws. He knows he makes mistakes. He knows he's Malaysian. He knows he complains.
He knows the mum hates him.
He knows he swears. He doesn't get along with his mum. He doesn't get along with a local policeman. But he is a metaphor for what a Malaysian is. And that's why I think people resonate to him. So when I said he's got more personality than other influencers out there, I don't mean that as a shade. I just mean that
or maybe.
Sometimes people are afraid to be themselves on social media. And that's not an attack on anyone. Social media is a hard place for you to be yourself. And whereas this puppet is just like unapologetically himself, you know what I mean? So the idea that you can take what is cloth or fabric and put him into and make him a shape of a person and then make him talk cock, and then people resonate with that, just like what you said, is a clear example of how people can relate to anything on social media. Yeah.
As long as it makes sense, relatable, it just works.
Yeah.
But do you also think that he is well known because of how he doesn't give a shit?
Yeah.
Or he won't practically be accountable to any of that as well?
Well, that's what I mean by personality, that he has a personality. His personality is he doesn't care, you know what I mean? He just says what he wants because that's what Malaysians are like in their local mama, you know what I mean? In kopitiam, they just talk shit. They swear, and that's how Malaysians talk to Malaysians, and that's what he is. He talks to you in the camera as his friend, as his Malaysian, and he complains and he talks about how Malaysian he is, and his grammar is wrong and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So I think people relate to that, and then they find him. They resonate with someone like that as opposed to someone who is too prim and proper. Do you know what I mean? Because if you go on social media, if you go on social media timelines now, sometimes you'll see people, they look like they just stepped out of a Vogue magazine. You know what I mean? And that's okay. That's their audiences. But then Hazarizq,
this is messed up.
Yeah. You just don't know what you get with that guy.
Yeah, that's true. Talking about Harry, right? Harry's content is mostly comedy, right? Mm-hmm. And in Malaysia, there's 3 genres that attracts the audiences most: comedy, romance, and horror. Why is that so?
You're asking me like I have the answers. I didn't know that.
What do you think about it?
I didn't know romance was a genre on social media that people... horror I wasn't sure. Although I do know that the number 1 podcaster in Malaysia, if I'm not wrong, is a horror podcast. Is that correct?
Not too sure as well.
This Malay guy who tells ghost stories, apparently he's the number 1 podcaster.
Because is in the mass market, that 3 genre is wouldn't you guys agree? Like, it is comedy, romance, and horror. If you see, these are the 3 genres that you see on screen or Malaysian movies and things like that.
I mean, genre as in maybe a movie genre. I didn't know that it was a genre on social media that people relate to. I would just imagine, I don't know if I'm right in saying this, but it doesn't so much matter what the genre is as long as it relates and resonates with the audience. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can have, like every genre, there's good and bad stuff, you know what I mean? Romance is good and bad stuff, whether or not it's done well. So I haven't seen too many horror and romance on social media enough to be able to tell you what's good and bad. But comedy, there's so much great comedy online. I mean, TikTok is an incredible creative aspect. I think people still kind of look down a little bit on TikTok and see it as a platform to for people to dance. Like what this guy I know, Kevin, he likes to dance on TikTok. I think he's
our producer, actually.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's right there, putting the middle finger at me. But TikTok is, that platform. People just think, oh, that's a stupid platform when people dance. But it's one of the more creative outlooks on content that I've seen in a while, like since Vine. You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter the genre. It doesn't even matter the technology. It's not the technology. It's the psychology. that's how you deliver the content, I think. So what genre you want to speak of, romance, comedy, or I'm meandering in and out of my topic at the moment, so I have no idea what I'm saying. But yeah, I would say that content is king, and it doesn't matter what the genre is, really, in my humble opinion.
Doesn't matter the equipment, doesn't matter how you tell it, as long as the story is there.
You literally have no excuse anymore. I mean, people back in the day, 5-10 years ago, would say, but I don't have the right camera.
Correct.
I don't have a microphone. But now you got no excuse because you got your mobile phone now, which can, by chance, record amazing audio and amazing video. Yeah.
Now that we have all of that, so a lot more people have this access to create in this part of the world. There are certain type of content or certain type of messages that we simply can't speak at a certain decibel before some people come and knocking on our door trying to put us behind bars. How can we as creatives push out a certain message to the masses on what we think about what's going on in this part of the world without actually getting in trouble?
When you say people come knocking the door, who are these people?
You know.
No, I don't know. I'm quite naive on the topic, to be honest.
Are you fine with it? We can talk about it.
Well, I mean, I used to work on radio and TV, you know what I mean? And they have this term, which you would hear every single week, if not every single day. It's called Compliance Code of Conduct. Basically what it is, and you have training every 6 months of Compliance Code of Conduct to remind you of the rules and the barriers that you have put in place to make sure that we don't ever step over the line. So we were reminded this every single week before we switched on, the mic, before we press record on the camera. We always had to have in our minds Compliance Code of Conduct, which is you don't ever cross the line. And crossing the line means you don't talk about the government, you don't, you don't talk about individuals per se in a bad light, you don't give out information that would, cause panic in the public, all that kind of stuff. You don't swear, blah, blah, blah. You don't talk about babi, all that kind of shit. You know what I mean? So that was drilled into our heads over time working in a big company. And yeah, it does at times hinder your creativity because sometimes it would borderline be ridiculous what you couldn't talk about, and that would definitely hinder your creativity, which is one of the reasons why I had to branch out. I had to do other projects outside traditional media being TV and radio, so I could be able to pursue my creativity, my ideas that I felt was safe enough to do publicly. And right now and we talk a lot about, we might get locked up and all that, but look at where we've come from in the last 10 years. 10 years ago, we couldn't release content online making fun of organizations for not filling up potholes. You know what I mean? We couldn't say that. Now the whole country is talking about it.
Yeah, the whole country is talking about it, but still, if you're a little bit too loud, things might happen.
That's true. There's always going to be that glass ceiling.
Correct.
But it's getting better, and the glass ceiling is moving up, kind of
pushing
thing.
up.
And that's the only thing we can do. I think even politics is changing. We got young ministers like Syed Saddiq now who are voicing out on behalf of the youth now and pushing, themes and ideas and ideologies and principles that we've never seen before. And anyone that voices out against that is seen as, a bit old school and stuff. So times are changing. I'm not saying that we won't ever get locked up. We probably will if we push the boundaries too much, but it's getting better. And but at the same time, I think it's definitely a hinder at the moment, but hopefully it'll get better, I think. Yeah.
Well, let's hope it gets better quickly lah. Recently also I saw this Instagram post on your Instagram that you did something with Syed Saddiq recently.
No, I just saw him in the office and took a picture.
Oh,
that was basically
he came by, or
I guess so. Yeah, he was there. I managed to have some signs I made.
Signs, yeah. I saw.
And then we.
That's too close to the phone, lah. Huh?
No. I mean, yeah, I've met Syed a couple of times, and we've just taken a few photos together and done some content together, but nothing big. But hopefully in the future we'll do something cool together. Yeah.
Quite hard to limit ourselves. Yeah? Earlier we spoke about the limitations of creating content here, right?
Yeah.
But despite all these limitations, right, we still see so many. There's a huge rise of digital creators in this country, right? And when the market gets too saturated, will ideas and content will it actually run out? Like for one at one point, there will be a time where a concept or an idea will be almost similar even though they've never heard of it, they've never seen it, but because it's too saturated, that could happen. And when that actually happens, right, how will like the world be then?
I think it's the opposite. I don't think ideas will ever run out. I think us as individuals, we're always going to have ideas. I think the only thing that trumps ideas is execution. So maybe the quantity of people doing it may go down, but I don't think ideas will ever go down. But I don't think the market in Malaysia is saturated, to be honest. I think it's the opposite of saturated, because I think we've still got a long way to go to really enforce creativity in Malaysia. I mean, if you look at the genuine conformed lifestyle of Malaysians, I'm not talking about here in KL urban, I'm talking about throughout Malaysia. Malaysians in general still have that kind of tendency to think that 9-to-5 job is the way to go. Whether it be, you wake up in the morning, you do your 9-to-5 job, and then you get married and you have a kid, and that's the way you live life. And I personally love the idea of people expressing themselves more, whether it be through their own platform and they're in their own ways and through their own creativity. And I think we don't see enough of that. And I'd love to see more. And I don't think it would cause the market to be more saturated. I think it would cause more competition. And competition is great for any industry, especially the creative industry, because it'll urge us all to do more. I think people love inspiration. I think people love to be challenged. And I think ideas will always be there. And if anything, with more competition will mean even more ideas and more shifts and more, left of field content being executed out there. So I think there's more to come, and I don't think it's saturated yet. But hopefully, even right now, we look at some great creative people out there. I mean, yeah, of course, we've got, like yourself, Paulis from All Is Amazing, Ion from Kicks. But look at individuals now that, like So I'm Jen, who's an amazing creator, who makes some great content. We're now seeing individuals rise up and really prosper more so than companies. And I love that idea. 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, one of my aims as a kid was to become an MTV VJ or a Channel V VJ. And the only way for me to do that was by Channel V or MTV noticing me. Now I don't need that anymore. Now the kids don't need that anymore. All they need now is their phone. They can upload content on Instagram, and that's how they can make their voices heard. And I love that. I love the idea that it's not companies that are dictating the market. It's us as individuals and our own creativity. So I want to see more. I would love to see more individuals, and I'd love to see more people doing their own thing, more so than us relying on companies. In fact, it's happening right now. Less and less people are joining companies, and more people are starting their own or doing their own thing. And I hope that's just the beginning to what will be a really creative Malaysia ahead. Yeah,
talking about how Malaysian will be more creative because of all this, right? Because you came from a radio background, right? And then transitioning into a digital space, how was the process of writing differentiate between the two? With you, I don't think you have to follow any code of conduct anymore. So how different has the writing process been for you?
It's been liberating in one sense, because you're able to do what you want.
And you actually feel free now?
I mean, to an extent. But at the end of the day, you still have bills to pay, you know what I mean? And be able to do content that gets bills to be paid means you have to succumb to doing things that clients want as well, to get more clients in. So I think you always have a code of conduct, so to speak, because you want to get clients, you know what I mean? You have to do what they want. So I think there's a balance between both, being able to get clients and being able to do what they want as well as yourself. But you have to have your own voice, and the client needs to understand that. But at the same time, if you can, and that's where the best creators prosper, you know what I mean? The idea that they can collaborate and really get the message out that their client or their collaborator wants to achieve, whilst also being yourself and really pushing the boundaries and pushing the envelope with the content that you put out there.
Right now, anyone can just put out content. Do you agree with that? Then with basically any average people can put out content with their phones and stuff. And then how would creatives in demand now are way higher than way before? Because I think with the amount of supply that you have, things can be cheaper. Brands can push prices down and stuff like that. How do you think the landscape will be because some clients also they are not too educated in a way.
Okay.
Because how
which clients are not that educated?
I'm not saying any clients in particular, because some they would think our job is simple and anyone can do it. For a photographer, I don't know, Paul, have you ever had Paul is behind the camera. But have you ever had anyone say, "Oh, you're just taking a photo. How expensive can that be?"
Yeah, my dad.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, some people actually assume that our job is very simple.
Yeah.
And what would you like to say to them?
That's a great point, by the way. My parents still don't know what I do to this day. So what do you actually do? Like, you make what is content? So what was the question?
Huh?
What was your question again?
What would you like to say to all these clients that actually think that our job is very simple and easy to execute?
I wouldn't want to say anything to them. I think every client's different. Every client has their own objectives. I think what the clients that you're talking about tend to have just a bit more of a traditional outlook on what producing content is, or getting their message out there. And I think the not smarter, but I guess the younger, the fresher companies are looking elsewhere now, outside of their traditional ways of promoting, marketing, and they're going to younger creators now to do that. But I don't think any smart company would assume your job is easy, unless of course they just give you very little money or don't value you to the extent that you do. And to them, that would be down to you having to prove yourself. If a company doesn't value you and the services and your skill sets, maybe it's not them, maybe it's you. Maybe you need to look at yourself a bit more.
I think also, like we spoke with several of our previous guests, creators are also very egoistic, and they always think that they are the best. Like
clients?
Creatives.
Oh, creatives, yeah.
If they don't like it, then that's their problem. They don't want to look back and reflect at their own mistakes or their own issues that they want to resolve also.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
I mean, I've butted heads with a lot of clients in my time as well, and it's always been a creative thing as well, wanting to get that message out. But at the end of the day, they have a message, you have a message, they're paying you. You have to have a clear agenda from the very start. I think you just need to your first meeting with a client is going to be crucial, to sit down with them and find out what they want and what you are. I think any client that works with you would know what you're about beforehand. So it would just be up to you really to try, and if you disagree with them, then prove them wrong in what you're able to execute eventually. And but if you're talking just about money and how they don't value you to the way that you value yourself, then just move on. Just say thank you very much, but I value my services a bit higher than what you value me. And you know what? You might lose them, or you can prove them wrong and continue to make content that would make them come back again, kind of thing. And that's not a wrong thing. If a company values you low and you value yourself much higher, to say no to them is not a bad thing. It doesn't mean they're bad, and doesn't mean you're bad. It just means maybe at that point in time it just doesn't work out, but it doesn't close the door in any way, or at least you have to make sure you don't burn any bridges in doing so. But I've really made this answer long-winded. But my advice to that,
you're helping me a lot, actually.
I guess it just honestly, a lot of people think that they can get the most amazing clients any day of the week, and that's bullshit. But what you have to do is you have to do the work first. People don't realize that there's no simple answer. You just got to do the work first. And trust me, if you do the work, it will be bad, but you cannot expect to be good at something without being bad at it first.
That's true.
Just be bad. Know you're bad and keep going, and I promise you things will get better. You will get better at your craft, and you will get better clients, but you have to realize that it's not an overnight thing, and you just have to keep going at it. And let me tell you, when I first started on radio and TV, I was terrible. I ran into some clips the other week, actually. I was going through my old archives. I was terrible, and I'm so happy now that I can look back and say that I was terrible, because back then I didn't think I was terrible.
But then it was like, oh, I'm the shit.
I didn't say, I wasn't the shit, but I was like, hey, I'm in this industry. And that's great, because that shows growth. And so I think you just got to get started. That's the main thing, and then go from there. If you think you're a creator that's worth more, then you got to prove that you're worth more, because you're doing better work than that other creator. You know what I mean? It's up to you how you want to value yourself. If you value yourself high, you need to produce the work to be able to show that why you value yourself higher. But I know what you mean. It's saturated because creators tend to have one agenda or one look and do the same thing. There's a lot of creators that just do one thing and they stick by it. I think that's where you need to look at other people and other creators like So I'm Jen or Harvin Skin or whoever. People who are pushing the boundaries, and these are people who can charge a bit more than other creators. Why? Because they are producing better work than most creators out there. So that's what you need to do, is you need to create, first of all, different, unique and better work than your other creators. And in doing so, then you can charge higher and work with better clients and stuff.
So Jen and Harvin has their name there already. What about this new creators?
But they didn't like
Correct.
5-6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be saying the same thing about a creator that is now just a creator, a small creator, but eventually in 5 years' time there'll be a decent creator. You know what I mean?
Mm.
If they are a creator now that's like in a saturated market, then they just need to keep going at it, I guess, to stick out a bit more, I suppose. Yeah.
Mm. Do you think that Malaysians would be open to new content? I personally, this is me myself, I personally think that Insporeum, this channel, this network would actually be a little bit hard to grow because our genre is pretty much different than what Malaysians can usually consume. Yeah. Right? And how fast can they accept new wave of content? And how can we change the speed of the acceptance?
Are you talking specifically about what you guys are doing at this podcast?
No,
or just in general?
Any unique genre in general.
What do you mean by new content though?
A unique space because okay, let's be honest. A lot of the content that we see, back to our question earlier, which is the comedy, which is the romance stuff, which is the horror stuff, which actually sells. Yeah. Here, what we are doing is we are trying to uncover the lives behind the people that produces all of this, the things that the people don't see. Yeah. And like this might not interest a lot of people, but how can we change to that mentality? Like, hey.
Well, first, your first question, will Malaysians be open to new content? Absolutely, man. Like, I think we need new content. We need fresh ideas every single time. If you look at the landscape of social media content in general now, it's changing every single year. What was funny 5 years ago isn't quite funny today. Correct. And that's us evolving as human beings and how we consume content. You know what I mean? So will they be open? Absolutely. That's the only way creators and content people can survive is by being fresh, evolving, and getting better at what they do. So will Malaysians be accepting that? Of course. About what you guys do, the podcast, this is very hard. I mean, I full respect to people who do podcasts. What you guys are doing is going to be very difficult to grow and scale, in my humble opinion, only because I think especially what you guys do is your podcast genre relies heavily on your guests. What I mean by that is in a way, the success of each episode at the moment relies heavily on who your guest is. Whereas you see someone like Joe Rogan or who other podcasts? Some of my favorite podcasts is like the Amazing Idiots. Those guys don't even have guests. They are the event. They are the highlight. Correct. And that's what you need to be able to do or achieve with this podcast is that people don't so much want to come via the podcast
of the guest.
Just because of the guest, but also because of you and what you can bring to it and what you can do different. So that's my biggest advice with this podcast and what you guys are doing. I love what you guys are doing because yes, you're highlighting and doing something that not many people are doing, or highlighting a genre within the creative industry in KL, which not many people get to see. But in saying that as well, it's such a niche market, you know what I mean? I love your guest, I love you guys, but we live in a very small bubble compared to the masses out there, you know what I mean? This is a very urban genre we're playing around here, so it's a very urban niche. So it's very hard to scale in that regard. You need to focus on what's relatable and what's what really resonates with the Malaysian public, and that will be down to you, Hazarizq. You're going to need to shine in years to come. You want this podcast to do well? You got to shine, my man. So, maybe change up the bandana colors every few episodes, or I don't know. I know.
Sell my own bandana then.
I know you take your work seriously, or whatever job you do seriously when you wear a bandana. Yeah. So I never ever see you wear reason, right? Only in the podcast and a good vibes. Yeah. That's when I know you. Okay, he takes his job seriously.
Correct.
The clients see work at Hazarizq. If he's not wearing the bandana, he doesn't care about
questionable,
the job. I'm kidding.
That's true. I think this bandana is like a signature for Rizq is at work kind of thing. It's like a sign.
Which is ironic because it's casual. Most people wear it as a casual thing. Yeah.
It started off at good vibes lah, and then that's why I'm like, then when people ask, it's for sweat, but like nope, I just like wearing it.
That's not sweating today. That's for sure.
Nope, it's
more of a fashion statement, ladies and gents.
I don't know. I think it's just because it's you, and like I really want to emphasize on the freedom of speech here in this part of the world. I keep on saying in this part of the world, I think everybody knows where we are. But like this freedom of speech thing, right? Because I would be more than happy to tell these people lah. But I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's so many other people that have the same feeling, right? To call these people out. But this one, I don't know if you know Fahmi Reza, Kuasa Siswa, right? He is one of those people that has the balls to actually do it. And I don't know if he did get in trouble once a few times, but like he still is at it, trying to voice out opinions.
Yeah.
You think that more people should grab things by the balls and just do it? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to say about this thing. I myself too.
I feel like I see it every day on Twitter, man. People are just voicing out there. Yeah, I think. Listen, voicing your opinion always helps. I think. I mean, it can get quite toxic on places like Twitter and stuff like that. But I think when you see it more, you can identify who's really talking shit, who knows their shit, kind of thing. Do I think we will benefit from it? Yes, I do, because the more voices. I think diversity, man. It's all about diversity. I think diversity is a great thing for us to have. So I think the more people that voice out, the better. I don't know much about this topic, man. I don't have. What I'm trying to say is I don't have the vocabulary to fully articulate what I'm trying to say right now. But what I am saying is that freedom of speech was a problem, still is a problem, will always be a problem. But I think there'll always be space for us to walk on the line. Maybe not cross the line, but walk along the line. And people do it every day.
Play a little bit with the fire.
Play a little bit with the fire. You know what I mean? Walk across the line, just don't cross the line. And I think, there's a lot of people who voice out, and some of them are idiots. And some of them are really intellectual, great people who we'd love to hear from. So it's up to you as an individual, I guess, to identify who these voices are. But I think it's great that we're able to walk across the line.
What about, I don't know, mental health, toxic workplaces and stuff like that?
Yeah.
It's not, okay, mental health probably recently you've seen a rise in that. But like, what about other taboo stuff? You still don't see a lot of that here.
Yeah, because we don't talk about it, because it doesn't exist in our social media timelines every single day. It does take sometimes a wake-up call, or like Is
it because of how we were brought up? Is it because the culture here, we don't really speak about these things?
That's such a broad question, man. I don't have the answer to it straight away, but I will say that it's just like anything, man. This Malaysia is like any other country. We have so many injustices that happen every single day. Some of them get documented, some of them don't. Yeah. Some of them we find out about, some of them we don't. It's the context of how we find out about them and how we react to them that will really maintain whether or not we see them as a game changer. So, for example, America's going through it at the moment. You know what I mean? With the Black Lives Matter, it's been a recurring theme. Racism exists in America, all around the world, but no one has ever really. I mean, we've had instances in the past, but it's just been a buildup of these recurring ordeals that have happened, and then the tipping point was last year. Injustices happen in Malaysia as well. We just haven't had our tipping point with some of these themes. Mental health. I love the fact that people are talking more about mental health, because no one was like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It can only get better, but the only way, sadly, is if we reach our tipping point where something drastic happens. I wish that wasn't the case, but sometimes that's what needs to happen for us to be able to create that awareness for these injustices that happen. Police brutality. The list goes on, kind of thing. So is it taboo? Yes, to an extent. But I think as Malaysians, we're still learning, and hopefully we won't have to reach those tipping points, that we will, in some way, shape or form, be able to talk about it as if it's not taboo. Some of these answers, man, I don't know what you're going to do in the editing process.
You're just going to filter it out.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. I can see people are falling asleep, so this rabbit hole, which I was struggling to get out of.
Correct. Let's take it up to the bright side a bit. How do you measure success?
Damn, these questions are very broad, man. How do I measure success? Chris from Coldplay once said that. Chris Martin from Coldplay once said that the way he measures success is how much legroom he has in a plane. The bigger the legroom, so you know what I mean. Which is ironic because we can't travel right now, so I couldn't use that. I just think how do you measure success is really internally, I suppose. But I think some people see money as success, some people see fame as success. I think undeniably, I think it's happiness. How happy you are of what you do and where you are in life, your own internal happiness. That's, at the end of the day, sometimes there's a lot of people out there that don't have much and they are happy. Do you know what I mean? And some people value them and look up to them. And there's some people out there who have all the money and fame in the world, but then are not happy. Yeah, that goes down to mental health again. Some people don't treat mental health as health. And I think that's successful if you're able to, just be yourself and be happy and do what you want in life. Yeah, that's a great measurement of success, I think.
Awesome.
Next question, please, Patrick.
I guess we are reaching it towards the end of the podcast already. Oof, it was a heavy one actually. Suddenly all taboo stuff and all. Yeah, because we were desperate for questions already. Okay, but before we end, I'll ask you several rapid fire questions. It's just like some questions only, and then you give me answers. Okay.
Top of my head, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So name me 3 people that you would love to work with.
3 people I love to work with. Internationally, they exist.
Anyone.
Or they've don't exist anymore.
Don't exist won't count.
So
they are still around.
Okay, so still live today. Anywhere. The 3 people I'd love to work with.
Yeah. Comedians or personalities.
Doesn't matter what field.
As long as you can do something, some sort of content with them.
That's so difficult, and you're really putting me in the spot here. I would say
that's the fun part of being the host.
That's true.
You're a host, you should know.
I would say, I'm not going to try and focus on one, genre or
all 3 of them can come from different places.
I'll say, people I'm inspired by that come from all walks of life. Who am I inspired by? I go through phases. I love Jurgen Klopp, who is the manager of Liverpool Football Club.
I mean, he's a Liverpool fan, so for sure.
I wouldn't want to work with him.
I'm a Man U fan, so.
I love, Jon Stewart from The Daily Show, who, really revolutionized the way we consume comedy in a satire way. John Oliver, Hassan Minhaj.
Hassan Minhaj would be cool.
Yeah, he'd be great. Taiki Waititi, one of my favorite directors. That's more than 3, so let's go with that.
3 movies or documentaries that creators should watch, whether it's for inspiration or for knowledge.
God. 3 movies, 3 documentaries. Anything with, what's the English dude?
What? There's so many English dudes.
The guy who narrates The Voice, David Attenborough. Just watch any of his documentary, right? You'll love it. That's 1. 2 more. Let's go movies. Okay, what's your favorite movie?
That answer wouldn't be valid.
Favorite movies. You know what? This is so difficult. I've got so many. That's the thing. You know what? Let's keep it local. Watch any P. Ramlee movie, all right?
Okay.
Trust me, you'll love it.
That's timeless. Yeah. I didn't expect that, actually.
Yeah. And last but not least, let's go a movie I love. Let's go with Whiplash.
Shit.
Incredible movie.
That's good.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming, but Whiplash is very good.
Whiplash, P. Ramlee, David Attenborough documentaries. We've covered all the fields. That's so broad.
Good. Last one.
Yeah.
3 things that you would have said to your younger self knowing what you know now.
I would say stop thinking too much. I would say get Invisalign sooner. And 3 would be stop thinking, do more. Talk less and do more.
Okay, stop thinking too much.
Yeah, do less, do more, and get Invisalign. Okay. Anything you want to say to our audiences? Guys, thanks for watching. You are on what's the platform again?
Oh, my heart.
No, because you guys have like a Insporeum.
Yes. We'll cut that out. Let's do it again.
Guys, I want to say thank you to Insporeum for having me. Did I pronounce it right?
Correct.
Insporeum for having me. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that like button, do all that jazz.
Do you have anything to say to creatives?
To creatives.
They are struggling to create content.
Get Invisalign. It will really help. Even if your teeth aren't crooked. Just get it, man. You can find me, just look for Ryan Matjeraie or Ryan. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and all that jazz. And although I don't post much, but you can consume content any way you want on my channel. And hopefully I'll be doing more. And get fucking Invisalign, guys. You will not regret it. Seriously. It's only like 20,000 ringgit.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Thank you. It was amazing to have you here.
Man.
It's me again. I hope you guys had a great time listening to the podcast because we at the Insporeum team, we all had a great bomb time with our guests. For those of you on Spotify, please don't forget to follow us, and for those of you on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to us because we have so much content gonna roll out in upcoming weeks. I'll see you guys again in the next episode.